the application form. And this is an application that's already been created as a sample for you. And so I was trying to build the links for you and give you some of the information. And this is Martin B. So we'll just use Martin B. But you can see that Martin B. was the early ancestor and that his last name is capital letters. And
they're showing both spellings.
Yes.
Which is useful.
Good. Yeah. This was a first family's. He was in Paris Township, Huron County, Michigan, which is in the thumb. And this proof of settlement was the census and the land deed. So it could have been the census and it could have been the map too. If the second yellow portion here is your name and your all of your information. And that tells you where to send it. So remember, this is linking the generations. You're starting with yourself, you're number one. And in this particular instance, they just put down main name of the applicant and when they were born. The following items should be included on the back of the proof document. So this is your proof document. We'll say this, well, whatever your proof document is. Could be a census, could be a land document, whatever it is. So you're going to put your name and your ancestor's name, and you're going to identify the generations and the document numbers. If you look on they'll say generation 2-3 document 3. So that's your linking document. Your birth certificate would be generation 1, and that's your linking document to 2, because your parents' names are on your birth certificate.
Joette, one question is, the generation 1, instead of me, why not use my granddaughter's name?
You could. You can do whatever that's a good question, because if you're choosing to do this for your grandchildren or your daughters or sons or however you're doing it. But you have to, if you're married, you have to have a husband, even though he's not, because your name is changed in the marriage license. We don't know exactly who the first generation is, and that's only because they didn't want to share that. It's somebody's relative. So that link is the biological, and they didn't really write that, whether it's a son or daughter, but to Arthur Joseph Bush, and he was born in 1914. And what did they use for their documentation? Birth certificate. Yeah, no, they used a birth certificate. BC birth certificate. And he died on 9 October 2000. And that they used a death certificate. His spouse was Lillian Bernadine Beauchamp. She was born on 24 January 1916, and they used a birth certificate. And they were married on 18 January 1941. Marriage license, and she died on 8 June 1999 in death certificate. So those second generation people, it's pretty easy to have those documents. And Arthur Bush is a biological son of Joseph Bukowski, born on 10 April 1879, and he had a birth certificate. And that's real unusual, but there were things that people did, like they wrote them in a book. You know, they didn't have certificates per se, but they had a listing of births where they would say, John Jones was born on the 29th of February, 1879. His parents were Harry Jones and Martha Smith or something like that, and it would just be a line in the book. And if you took a Xerox copy of that, that would be fine. So
even though it doesn't have a heading of what.
Well, I would make a copy of that book. You know, I mean, I would make a
title page.
Yeah, title page. Anytime a book, title page. The third generation is Joseph B is birth certificate and the death certificate. Death certificate, he died in 1961, so and there are so many death certificates on Ancestry these days. That's, you know, they're quite available. And he was married to Louise, and then there's two different, Louise was Luditka. I believe these are Polish names. So she probably changed her name, or that's what they called her. Return of births, return of marriages. This may be just one of those books that have the marriages, but it's just a listing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a listing of, this is the groom, this is the bride, this is the date. Sometimes they have the parents, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they have the witnesses, sometimes they don't. And so you would just use the book, but make sure you write down where you got the book, or
This says
copy the book.
For item 11, return of births in the county of Wayne, page 355, number 843, line 34, for Louise Jardinsky. It was published in 1888.
Yeah,
they
so
got all the
that is
information.
the book. And then there's a death certificate, because Louise died in 1981. So now we're at Joseph Bukowski. Is the biological son of Martin Bukowski, two spellings. And he was born in 1831. So they used this is generation 4. So they used what? The census document, right. And because he said he was born in Prussian Poland in 1831. And a death certificate because he died in 1904, and there were death certificates there in Bay City. And his spouse was also born in 1841 in Poland, and that was a birth register, which was similar to what we've talked about with the birth register with the lines book. It was a book. And she had a death certificate. And it was interesting that they were married in 1870, no location, but it was the census they used. So the census is your friend. You know, the census is, and censuses are free. I mean, and that is the fourth generation back. He must have come, that's the fourth generation, that's the last generation, so he must have come, well, he was I think this was a first family, so he came before 1880. So that's, some of you, if you do the first families, you will only have to do, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 generations. If you do the pioneers. And then if you know, the next page just has the birth certificate for the applicant, birth certificate for the husband of the applicant, marriage license, Wayne County, birth certificate, state of Michigan, death certificate, county of Oakland, birth certificate. It's not hard. The idea is the concept is linking something that links you to your mom and dad, and links either your mom, whichever line you're going back, to their parents, to their parents, to their parents.